Hey YouTube, I'm here with my cat. This is something that happens about every single day. She walks in my office and meows at me to come lay on the couch, throw a blanket on me so she can hop on and get scratches. So she's going to be a part of the video today, but she's not actually part of the subject. What I was going to talk about today has to do with a recent event where a major figure on YouTube has let some people down with his word choices. And I think it's one of these things that happens to everybody, not to say his word choices, but to say having someone who we consider a role model or we look up to let us down somehow. And for some people it's a family thing, for some people it's a professional thing like a mentor or a professor or somebody else, an advisor, somebody who just doesn't live up to what we had built up in our heads that person was about or how they would conduct themselves. And I think the only real positive we can pull out of those isn't to get disillusioned and say, well, they're not who I thought they were, but is instead to try to figure out how can we become more like the person we thought they were, right? Because the real value in having a role model or someone we look up to or someone we pay attention to regularly is to set a target for ourselves of how we want to be or which directions we want to grow and go in. And we can still do that even if that person who we had previously assigned that role in our minds doesn't live up to all that we thought they did. And in fact, again, a lot of growth can occur from us deciding, well, then we're going to do a better job of it. And I remember this happened for me when I was in a large organization in college where some of the more senior members I didn't think reflected well in terms of their leadership, in terms of their decisions about how they'd conduct themselves around others. And so, at first, when I had the opportunity to become a leader in the organization, I was like, well, I don't know, because I don't want to be like these guys, right? I don't want to be like these people who I don't think maybe are the way that I feel it ought to be done. And what I realized was that's an easy cop-out, right? That's an easy cop-out. That's how we wind up with somebody who says, well, I don't want to be a politician because the politicians right now are garbage. It's a lazy way out to say, I'm not going to help fix the situation. If anything, it should present itself as a test to say, well, okay, well, if they couldn't do it, and if I think it could be done, I need to show other people that can be done and break that cycle and replace someone who is not doing a good job of it, create a generation after us who can look up to somebody else and say, you know what, there is somebody upstanding. There is somebody doing what they should do. Now, the thing about this is that not everybody in the world is going to wind up with however many millions of followers PewDiePie or somebody else on YouTube has or whatnot. If an pro athlete lets us down, doesn't mean you have to become a pro athlete in order for it to matter if you behave like a decent role model. I think that if we look around the world, more people's lives are influenced by their sports coach, by their teacher, by their parent, by a mentor, by a neighbor, by somebody in their local community more often than a celebrity. Because even if we all know who some celebrity is on YouTube or on television or in the movies, even if we all see people on talk shows and know that person's face and know the person's name, they don't really have the same influence in our lives as people who are really in our lives, people who can ask questions to, people who we can get to spend time with us, people who can get to understand us and listen to our stories and things. And so in that way, even if you're only the role model you think that they should have been, to one person, to 5 people, to a dozen people, to 30 people, classroom of people, whatever it is in your life comes to make sense, I think it's still worth being the role model you think they should have been. And if it's to a smaller group, it can be in a better way. Right? It can be in a more substantial way than it ever could have been if it was at scale of a whole bunch of people. So it doesn't mean you necessarily have to worry about, well, I can't necessarily pivot my entire life to trying to achieve that same level of reach, which, like I say, it's not an important part of it. It's to say whoever is or might be in the future, someone you might be a role model to, being the best you can be for those people. So I know this is not the best camera or audio. This is my cell phone because I did not anticipate making a video while scratching my cat, but fitting these in when I can. Thank you for hanging out with Edie and I for these few minutes. Yeah, that's it for the day. Thank you as always for tuning in. I'll have another video for y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.